This is the LowcoSports Lowdown podcast. Here are your hosts, Justin Jarrett and Wes Kerr.
And welcome in to a Friday night episode of the Loco Lowdown. I am Wes Kerr. I'm joined by my co-host tonight, Kevin Libby. Kevin of Libby of WHHI fame and of LowcoSports fame, because you're always present in our many nightly shows, either on air or hyping us up in the comments section. So tonight you are on air with us, Kevin, and we have a lot to talk about. But first, how are you doing on this Friday night?
Happy to be with you, my guy. I mean, you guys make it fun for me every time I pop around. Very fun to be on air for, jumping out of the comments section is always a good time. So happy to be with you, Wes. Worldwide Wes Kerr, here for the ride. Let's go.
Well, I always enjoy what you have to say in the comments, but I even more enjoy having you on the show. And great to have you alongside myself tonight. And a lot to talk about, of course, leading off with the RBC Heritage, and it was a wild second round today. Justin Thomas maintaining control of the lead, although certainly it was a far cry from what he did a day ago. 2 under 69, but still enough for him to keep his spot at the top of the leaderboard. 12 under par through 36 holes up to the halfway stage of what has been a very interesting start to this 2025 tournament over in Harbour. Really a tale of 2 days, but Thomas with a 2-shot lead over Siwoo Kim, which who had a tremendous day, 7 under 64 to rise to a tie for second. And Russell Henley staying consistently solid, put up a 68, and he is 10 under as well. I will say Thomas does have a slim lead, but there are certainly some key names chasing him. You look at Tommy Fleetwood, who had a really good day, shot a 5 under, 2 really solid days for him so far, very quietly up to a tie for fourth. And then Scotty Scheffler, I think he expected a little bit more than the 70, but you look at the conditions that the guys in the afternoon had to go off of, a little bit more wind and just tougher overall setups there for the afternoon groups today. It certainly you'd expect a little higher scores, and that's kind of what we saw. But even so, Justin Thomas was able to get some, a couple of key birdies late to maintain a small lead as we get into the weekend. But I want to hear your thoughts on what you've seen from this tournament as we head into Saturday.
I got to watch a bunch of it on TV. Where I worked, had the TV going all day, so it was a great time. Kim today was 7 under on round 2, so a 7 under performance is still pretty darn good. 3 shots off of the course record. So I think in a course like Harbour Town, as little as I know about golf, compared to the Masters, we have fewer hills, and so with shorter. We have more par 3s, par 4s versus the par 5s we see in Augusta. So I think that the power players aren't necessarily going to thrive here. Folks that have a short game are the ones that are going to show up. And so it does not surprise me that Kim rallied today. And you definitely still don't want to ride out Scotty Scheffler, who's still obviously still probably the odds-on favorite, even though he's 4 shots off the leader, Justin Thomas. It's fun to watch someone come out and play. Thomas has had a great couple days, but man, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. So 2 big days left. We have beautiful weather here, and I can't wait to see how it all comes together.
Well, the weather's not going to be a problem. I mean, obviously, we're not going to have to deal with what we had last year. I don't think a Monday finish is in the cards. It's supposed to be continually beautiful weather, 77 degrees and sunny tomorrow, and maybe a little bit more cloud cover on Sunday, but still going to be, prime conditions for some great golf. Just a very, very tiny percent chance of rain. We should be pretty much in the clear from this point forward. But tomorrow's going to be beautiful. Sunny skies, 77. Not too much wind, up to 10 miles an hour. So slight factor, but not much of one. It's going to be pretty solid conditions. But as we said, now we've get to the point in the tournament where the leaders going to be teeing off in the afternoon. So it's going to continue to bring a challenge as we get towards later in the day. For those top competitors, and moving day is really start to see the separation, like which guys are for real, which guys are going to carry some momentum into Sunday. So Saturday's always one of my most favorite days to kind of watch how it unfolds. It's always also the busiest day over at Harbour Town. A lot of fans,
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of spectators. It should be, the place should be packed and rocking from the early morning tomorrow, and I could not ask for better weather. But yeah, Justin Thomas, after what was a record tying 61, had a 7-foot putt to break the record, and it lipped out. So he settles for the tied course record, which was matched Ross back in the 90s, and as well by Troy Merritt in 15, which I just remembered yesterday. I forgot that Troy Merritt came so close to winning it that year. But I mean, Justin Thomas, great to see what he's been doing over there. But we'll get into this later, but there are some guys I'm going to highlight that you have to keep an eye on by the way they've been playing this week. It's not just Scotty Scheffler; there are others as well. But first, let's shout out our presenting sponsor. The show is presented tonight by Mickelson Law Firm, original sponsor and our all-star sponsor, the official real estate closing attorney and presenting sponsor of Hilton and Christian Academy coverage. Call on Mickelson Law Firm for all your legal needs. So Kevin, we kind of lit off by talking about JT and what he's been doing. It was working like on Thursday.
Mhm.
Uh, Today he had his moments late. He birdied 13 and 15. 15's one that was one of the easier par fives. You see a lot of red numbers there. Good to see him bounce back on 13 after a little bit of a slip up midway through the round. But for Justin Thomas, what we saw earlier and his solid play that really got him off to a hot start. His putter was in full control. He was really dialed in. He rarely was making unforced errors or mistakes, especially with his approach game. But I think he started off the way you wanted to. You didn't want to give up any shots back.
Mhm.
You a couple of pars to start off. Took advantage of the par fives, or at least you parred two, but you got the birdie on five.
Mhm.
And you got to be happy with what you had there. If you're just, especially by the way you close it out on that back nine. So uh, I think Justin Thomas right now is looking like he is going to be one of the big time factors of this tournament down the stretch into Saturday and Sunday. But there are others certainly to keep an eye on. There were some really solid rounds today from some
Mhm.
players we didn't expect, kind of like what we saw on Thursday. And there's some guys with local ties as well. At least one guy I want to talk about, but Siwoo Kim with a nice 64. Andrew Novak, uh, a
Yep.
native Saint Simon, or at least he lives in Saint. He's actually originally native of Raleigh, and he most recently lives in Saint Simons.
Mhm.
But he went to school at Academic Magnet, which is a high school in South Carolina, which you probably know if you've followed our local sports coverage. We've talked about them a lot. But he kind of came out of nowhere today and put up a 65.
Yeah.
He was rolling early through the front nine. Uh, and then into the back nine as well. Birdied 11 and 12, not easy holes. And then he kind of struggled down the stretch the last few. He got into some big trouble on 18. He went into like that waist area
Mhm.
to the green where the marsh is and had an adventure get out there. Thankfully, he just made bogey, but um, there were
Yeah,
some
man. He.
there were some instances late where it looked like Novak was going to drop a few more shots, but he's still 9 under, and he's still going to be interesting to see how. It's still interesting to see how he does tomorrow. After what we saw from him today, now that he's got a really good opportunity here. Tommy Fleetwood is another guy. You should
Yeah.
certainly keep an eye on, who has provided some terrific finishes in major tournaments, and across the last few years he has been a topic of someone who is due to pick up some big wins on the PGA Tour. And I feel like when he gets hot with his putter, and when he plays the consistent golf that we have seen him deliver, especially what he did in the back nine today, he is going to be a heck of a threat to going forward in this tournament.
Yeah, I think that you're exactly right. Those guys are both at 9 under, so they're tied for the tournament. I think having a 6 under like Novak did's great. To your point, he responded well, avoided the landslide, and was able to stay right in line with Fleetwood. Henley, obviously at 10 under, still a contender. I thought Kim really demonstrated his capacity to really understand the course in terms of how it plays. Last night, you guys really helped me understand the way that Bermuda grass is going to play different than bent grass. And especially time of day is also, I understand it. In the morning, you're going to have a little more dew out there, a little bit slower on the green. But as you come into the later day, those greens speed up as it dries out under the sun. So as someone who's a novice golfer and a novice golf fan, I really appreciate kind of getting a better and deeper understanding of it's all about not just necessarily how you're playing on any given day, but about being a professional. And, just because Thomas had a 2 under today, whereas hi, Cat, whereas some folks have a bigger day. As a professional, it's not about just one day. It's not about one swing. It's about the entirety of your performance. I absolutely loved it, man. Wes, you grew up here, and I'm really curious to better understand what it feels like to be a native of Hilton Head, watching the biggest PGA event that our state has here. I mean, how much has this meant to you as a kid growing up here? How much does it mean still?
I just take a look at other kids going this, or younger kids, or now, like this next generation of kids who are enjoying this tournament for the first time, and it takes me back to when I was that age and experiencing this for the first time. And I'll tell you what, I just I was looking at some facts about this tournament throughout the years, and I think something that was really mind-boggling is when you see the winner's share is $3.6 million. I'll tell you, when I first came to the tournament,
it's not that.
It was under $1 million. It was like 800,000, which was a lot back then. But yeah, I mean, it just goes to show. My point is, it goes to show how big this tournament has been. Because when I was a kid, I mean, there were some quality golfers, but I mean, Tiger Woods never was there. A lot of people wanted to see Tiger, but he didn't like the course, so he never really came. I mean, obviously, Davis Love had a good run. He had a good run in the '90s. He had a good run in the 2000s as well. But I will say, we never got back then. We never got the high quality guys like a Scotty Scheffler,
right?
Or like you're looking at the top, the cream of the crop, the best golfers in the world.
Yes, sir.
Now we had a few that certainly were well known, but it was never like 8 of the top 10 in the world. It was not that level until very recently. So for these kids, being able to see not just like PGA Tour golfers, but the best of the best, even the week after the Masters, and you still see high level competition for a lot of these guys. It's a ton of fun, and I just continue to think back of standing at the gallery when I was a young kid and seeing these holes, for the first couple of times, and just taking in the atmosphere of a tournament like this, and now these younger kids are seeing it to an even heightened level, just because what this tournament is now is just so much more than it was then. Although you could say that it was special to us then. It was as special to us as it is now, and I I just really enjoyed getting the opportunity to go as a kid because this is like you look at other places where you grew up near professional teams. You grew up in a city, like we don't have that, but we have an event like this. I mean, this is our big time sporting event that gets a ton of notoriety. I mean, obviously, we love covering high school sports, we love covering college sports, but I just think something about the heritage that really makes it special here in this community because it's. I mean, we're a small island, but to have the exposure, national exposure, worldwide exposure. I mean, golf is a worldwide game. You get spectators from the cool thing about
everywhere.
This is international, yeah. So, and a lot of international players have won this tournament in the past. I remember when Aaron Baddeley went in '06. He was an Australian. That was a big deal. Actually, there was an Aussie that went the year before, and Peter Leonard. He was also an Aussie. So I forgot we had back-to-back Australian winners the first 2 times I went to the Heritage. But we've had others. We've had a Japanese winner in Kodaira. We had CT Pan win from Taiwan. We've had Matt Fitzpatrick from England, many other nationalities as well. So it's really cool to see that and just to see the level of competition continue to increase and just get better. And these players are really showing. I mean, almost had a course when we tied a course record. Almost had a new one yesterday, and
Right.
I'll tell you what, there are a few people that challenged it today. I mean, I mentioned guys like Andrew Novak with a 65, Tommy Fleetwood a
Yep.
66,
Yep.
Mackenzie Hughes had a nice day. He put up a 66, and he's 8 under. And then Maverick McNeely, Carl Phillips, all with 65. So there were some low scores in the morning, which I guess you expect because the courses, for the most part, has played a little easier in the morning. And,
Yeah.
the guys who got out in the morning, or the guys who got in the afternoon yesterday, got the morning opportunity today, and a lot of them made hay of it, including a guy like a Colin Morikawa,
Right.
who kind of, a solid 69 on Thursday, but then was able to get a 66 in, and he's
Yep.
-7. And I'll tell
Yeah.
you, there are a lot
Striking
of
distance.
7 and -8 who I think are still in this thing. You look at a guy like obviously Scotty Scheffler at -8. Brian Harmon is someone that I got to see a couple of times. I think he left a lot of shots, or at least a couple of shots on the table.
Yep.
But I think you got to be happy where you are right now at 7 under, and you give yourself a chance to maybe find a way to get hot in the weekend. But I really think Morikawa has the opportunity to rise further. Wyndham Clark potentially, and then yeah, I'd say, and then I'd say most of the guys from 7 under have a shot, and I'll add in Fitzpatrick and Cantlay at 6 under.
I like
Those two
Spieth at
guys.
5 under. Like, it's still a 7-stroke, disparity. You can do that in 2
I
days.
mean, look, that's why they call tomorrow moving day. You can
Yeah.
move up from the pack, or you can move down. You can move from a higher spot down. So Saturday is, I mean, such a key
It's the
juncture
biggest
in the
day.
tournament. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
important.
Wes, I don't mean to pull you too far away from the numbers. I know that, like me, you're a big old nerd, but I keep showing you my season tickets to the Boston Red Sox, which cost a whole $8 now as a kid. You have the Sox banner behind you with obviously been a Sox fan your whole life. One of the biggest memories of my life was the first time I went to a Sox game. I mean, heck, I can show you. Where is it? I broke it. That's why. This is the first game I ever went to. I still have the tickets from my first Red Sox game. It's right there underneath my piano recital from first grade. But my point of this is, Wes, I remember walking into Fenway Park for the first time as a kid. And the first time I saw that green grass and the first time I saw the green monster, it's like a cathedral to baseball. And nothing in my life, I'm a grown man. I've been with a woman. It was lovely. But walking into Fenway at 8 years old and smelling the grass and smelling the hot dogs and the peppers and the dogs, like it's a different experience as a kid to walk onto a course and see something you've seen on television. I recognize you and I are people who are particularly affectionate towards the broadcast television product, but to walk in and see something in real life that you've only ever seen on television, especially with the color enhancements available, and realize it's just so different to be in person. JJ, obviously our common host, Justin Jarrett, is currently at a minor league baseball game, smelling the game's over, but he was smelling the dogs today. He was there with his family. I encourage him to heckle. I think it really matters to be present for live sports. I think there's a beauty to it.
Oh, no doubt. It's much. I'll tell you what. If you go into a game in person, it's like, take for example Fenway Park. I mean, you can watch it on TV. It's a ton of fun, but there's something special, magical about going there in person. I've been there a couple times, and it's just an amazing place to watch a baseball game. There's nothing like going to a game at Fenway for sure. But just overall, I mean, there's definitely something to say about going to a game live. I mean, you have the energy right there, and you don't have to watch it through a TV screen, obviously. And I see this thing about golf. I mean, that's why everyone wants to experience a place like Harbour Town, and especially a place like Augusta, or I mean, the most prestigious courses, but also just the cathedrals, I guess you could say. I mean, Pebble Beach is one of them as well. There are others that are just like you recognize they're just incredible areas of just magic when you see the best golfers out there. And
yeah, man. I mean, you mentioned Pebble Beach. Like, you can play that in Tiger Woods' video game, or you can see what Tommy Brady did when he hit a rock in Pebble Beach and he went down to the sands to hit it out. Like, that's a remarkable moment. Obviously, I was never present for a course play at Pebble Beach, but I was definitely present for Fenway Park when I was 8 years old and walking into that atmosphere and seeing that green grass and that big green monster was a life-changing experience. Wes, what was it like for you as a kid the first time you went to Harbour Town? Were you there for the tournament, or were you there independent of it?
Well, I've been to I went to Harbour Town several times before, like, as a kid, just to walk around, but, like,
See the lighthouse?
yeah,
Maybe a band?
yeah, but, when I, like, yeah, I mean, just going to the Harbour Town for the first time, in terms of the golf course, yeah, I mean, it's obviously there are the 18th hole is what most people
Special.
know it by, and the lighthouse
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
background, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful golf hole, and the course itself is just really well managed. Jonathan Wright and his crew do it just an incredible job, and they've been doing that for years on years now, and it just gets better every heritage, every tournament, but it's always been kept in great condition, and
Yeah.
just to see it for the first time. I think going to the tournament for the first time and just seeing what goes into a professional tournament, because it's a
Right.
difference between watching on TV. Like you said, watching on TV, you don't get the full experience.
Right.
I
You
think
can smell it. You can taste it.
right, right. It's just no matter, like all sports, like you said, but especially especially golf. I feel like you really have to take it into to really appreciate it. Now it's nice when you watch it on TV because it kind of bounces around. I guess golf is different because it's going from hole to hole, so you don't have to. But even so, like walking the course with the certain group, and I'm not sure if you knew this, but when I was in high school, I was a standard bearer. I
Yeah.
got to which was also a really fun experience because going inside the ropes and being a part of the tournament that way. As a high school kid, that's just awesome, and middle school kids do it too now. It's
Yeah.
really really cool.
Wes, if I can share my personal experience, the first year I covered the tournament was thanks to Robin Townsend, has since passed, but she was a big proponent of WHHI television. And in 2014, I got to be present on the 18th hole when Kuchar made that shot out of the
Oh,
bunker.
man.
That was cool, man. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not an avid golf fan. I'm a novice to this, but to see Kuchar get that response from the gallery at 18, where the whole place is lit because he's closing a course that he has been aspiring to win for so long. And now, as an old man approaching 40, to see Kuch be the oldest player on the links this week, it was special for me because I remember working with Bob Stevens and getting to interview Kuch. And I'll tell you a quick story about Stevens. I wanted to get into the media room to get some footage of Kuchar in his post-game interviews because I'm not sure we're going to get an interview with him, to which Bob Stevens is like, Kev, calm down, buddy. We're getting that one-on-one. Don't worry. I know this guy. And so while me as a camera person for a TV station is saying, no, buddy, get me in that room so I have the shot of him talking about the course in case we don't get him for a one-on-one, it really hurt me to not get in that room. And Bob Stevens is sitting next to me, an ESPN anchor who started SportsCenter, being like, buddy, like, trust me, slow down. And sure enough, Kuchar comes walking out of his presser. He looks Bob straight in the eye and goes, Bob, right? And he's excited to see his guy who's been covering him for years. Bob was covering radio then. Obviously, he still does that in addition to his WHHI coverage. But it was flattering to see what relationships do amongst professional athletes. And someone like Bob, who has decades of experience and respect. I didn't realize at the time how prestigious Bob Stevens is. And it really was meaningful to me to understand how much relationships mean in broadcasting, and just to be a part of it, be around it, be standing on the 18th green next to CBS cameras with my little, personally owned camera, and to cover that event in 2014 changed me in terms of understanding. I've attended professional sports as a patron. I've never been someone with a media credential. And I can't wait about tomorrow night. And you'll need to come back tomorrow night is to hear Max Araj describe not just following Matt Kuchar like he did this morning or Scheffler like he did in the afternoon, but following them as a media credentialed, persona effectively, where Max is out there getting interviews, which we'll see tomorrow night, with PGA Tour athletes who are describing their experience in this beautiful place we get to call home.
Yeah, there's nothing like it's really cool for Max and to be able to interview those guys, and he was he was going to come on and share a cool story that we talked about today in the media center that concerned Ricky Fowler, because he was following him earlier today, and something really crazy happened that he hit a wild shot that went. He holed out.
Don't blow it now. Don't be afraid of a good teaser for Maxie tomorrow night.
All right. Well, I'll hold the rest for tomorrow. I didn't.
Give him the hook, but just tease him with the hook, Wes. Reel him back in.
We'll come back tomorrow, hear the rest of it, because we'll certainly have him on tomorrow for the Saturday edition of the Loco Lowdown. But yeah, stay tuned for that. But going from there, it's really cool what you're talking about. Just thinking about how much this tournament means to the community. But going
Let me
back,
quickly jump in, man, on that. If I may, as much as I loved covering Kuchar in 2014, the thing I appreciated better and more about that, it was the first year of the new clubhouse. And within that clubhouse, we had the Gullah Festival, and I got to see Levon Stevens direct a choir. And the big get for me as a WHHI camera person was to get Natalie Days, who was on with her husband, Ron Days, and their kids for Gullah Gullah Island on Nickelodeon, which for me as a millennial was a very important program. And one of my first covers for WHHI, I was working underneath Allie McNair Cook, who's an anchor, who directed me to go interview Natalie. I was just so humbled by that. And I got to ask her, what is Gullah? Is it a language? Is it a culture? And she said, it's everything. Gave me this beautiful interview. And, I got to see her perform under Levon Stevens as a singer, capturing her voice. And it was just such a wonderful introduction to Hilton Head as more than what I always envisioned it to be, which was a culture of entitled and inherited wealth. But in fact, it's what you are, Wes, which is someone who works their way through struggle and achieves greatness. And that speaks to not just the cultural experience of people who were raised here like you, but to truly someone like me who was raised generally with poverty. Obviously, I had Sox tickets as a kid for $8. I'm not trying to say I'm privileged in that, without privilege, I certainly am. But to be at home here for me, to appreciate golf, a game I was never able to access as a child, and then to appreciate the culture we have entrenched here, which is our Gullah heritage. It made me feel like this place is truly something special. And if I can end my rant, Wes, when I was in college at the University of Massachusetts, and it was January, I got to watch The Legend of Bagger Vance at like 2 a.m. after I did some homework. And I got to see Charlize Theron, who's gorgeous, and the magical Negro, Will Smith. It's not a character that holds up. And my guy from Boston, Matty Damon, playing Junip. And it really mattered to me the way that Savannah was portrayed in the film The Legend of Bagger Vance, because it's a story of struggle. It's about when Junip explains to the main character, the child, that while everyone else in that town had chosen bankruptcy and not to do labor, which was beneath their class, this young man's father saw the depression, looked it in the eye, paid off everyone he owed money, and fought depression back with a broom. I love that film, not because of the trope of the magical Negro, but because of the influence it had on me personally of representing this space, Savannah, that is our aggregate community. Understanding this place is more meaningful and multi-generational than what I've known in my known experience. I've loved that. And again, you grew up here with tremendous privilege, but you've also grown up here with struggle. I mean that as a compliment, Wes, because I recognize, I don't know if the audience knows this, man. I'm not trying to call you out. You've been going through a palsy and you're overcoming it, and you look beautiful today, my friend.
All right, let's. I did not want to bring this up on air.
I can cut that. I'm sorry about that. But I mean to celebrate you, my friend. All I mean to say is
it's a live show. This is not. There are things I'd like to talk about, but this is something that
you have so much power to me.
There are personal matters I'd like to keep away from this show. And
let me truly apologize, not recognizing that I should appreciate better. This is indeed a live space, and you are entitled to your experience in the way that you want to explain it, Wes. But I just mean to say that I see that you have worked extremely hard to be who you are and what you are, and I love you very deeply for that.
Right,
and I hope you'll appreciate my apology.
There are things that I'd rather not share.
I'm sorry for my bringing that up.
No, I apologize. It's I get it, but there are things. I know you've known me well. You know a lot more than others, but that's all I'll say. I just there are things that.
It's my intention to compliment you. I know you know my heart, Wes, because we're friends. And I do apologize truly for impacting your audience with something that maybe they don't understand. I just mean to celebrate struggle, Wes, and I really do honor the fact that you are hard.
We have more to discuss tonight.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we have more sponsors to talk about. let's get to our next group of sponsors. Hudson Seafood, great place for seafood, sunsets, cocktails on the island. Presenting sponsors under the bus. We also have a new sponsor, Hilton Furniture. Max Araj helped set that one up. And also a new sponsor, Hilton Island Windows and Doors, Coach Barron, helping out with that. Former Coach Barron over there at Hilton and Prep, who just did some awesome work over
Awesome.
there. Yeah.
Coach Barron, can't stop the Barons. They're strong, man.
Yes. Yeah, so those are that's our next batch of sponsors. I mentioned some guys in this tournament where they are right now. We obviously know that Justin Thomas is going to be a factor. We know that Scheffler probably will be.
Mhm.
Is there another guy that you think could move up and could be right there on Sunday that might be a little lower down the leaderboard that could make a run tomorrow?
I appreciate the question. I would say Jordan Spieth. He's 7 off the leader. I wouldn't be surprised to see Spieth come out, drop an 8 under, and be 3 off the leader coming into Sunday. Like, these things can happen. It's a fun thing about golf. It's about the feel. It's about the moment. To quote Bagger Vance, like, get in the feel and see what happens with it. And Wes, you and I are both big baseball fans. I've not played a lot of golf, but I've played my share of baseball. And what it took me a lot of years to understand is you can't overswing. You can't try too hard. You can't squeeze the bat too tight. Otherwise, you shank the thing like I do when I play golf. But if you play loose and you know yourself from within, you can find that center and go ahead and just hit the crap out of a ball with a big loose swing that's pretty if you watch it in slow-mo.
Yeah, no doubt. That's why they show all the slow motion swings on TV, because they know how much those viewers like to see it, like to witness that. I'm looking at this leaderboard right now, and I I mentioned Tommy Fleetwood earlier, but
Mhm.
I feel like he can. I think he's gonna have an opportunity to put it all together. As we get to tomorrow, I like the way he plays. I like what he has done so far, especially this past round, and I think that he could really have an opportunity to make a big move
Yeah.
coming up tomorrow. Some other
Free
guys.
throws.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's within 3, so he's right there. But someone who can inch a little closer, obviously Morikawa, and then Patrick Cantlay. Now, if you
Mhm.
remember, Patrick Cantlay almost won this tournament a few years ago. He lost to Spieth in the playoff, but he felt like he was on the verge of winning that year. He has continued to play well at Harbour Town. The course suits him really well. And you look what he's done. The putting has not been great. He is one of the worst, one of the worst in the field so far in strokes gained putting. But his approach shots have been great. It's kept him in it. But if the putting can get to where it was a couple of years ago, I think Cantlay could find a way to climb. I'm just not convinced right now that his putting has been as solid enough as it needs to be, because that, even as a golfer, as a cat, or a younger golf, trying to find the best word, but just as a
Mhm.
novice golf fan,
Mhm.
you understand how important putting is to winning these tournaments.
You drive for show, you putt for dough, baby.
Well, obviously that's the slogan, but more so than that, um, we've seen guys go on runs just with their putter. I mean, you talk what Morikawa has been doing in the
Mhm.
past. You talk about what Justin Thomas,
Yeah,
that
man.
playing game at 17, which I got to see in person yesterday. That was a thing of beauty. But I, I I I'm interested in seeing how Cantlay does tomorrow. I think he's got an outside chance of making somewhat of a run. Um, in terms of some others, at this point, if I go back, yeah, at this point, I could potentially see a guy like a Spieth or a Schauffele make a run from where they are, at right where they are at 5 under, and this is an opportunity where if you go out a little earlier, maybe you get the opportunity to get a lower score and build some momentum, and then it puts the pressure on some of the other guys that are going off late. So it's possible we could see a nice like a 65 or lower score,
Yeah, man.
especially from a guy like a Kuchar, maybe a guy that Mac is falling for, or a Spieth, or another guy you wouldn't expect because we've seen some good scores from guys that we didn't expect to see them shoot. But
Yeah, to your point, Wes, I think that having a course like ours here in Hilton Head, where we don't have the long, par fives of an Augusta, it really is about your ability to play the small game well, and that's where a veteran like Kuchar still has a crack at. He's a guy who won this thing, and you look
yeah,
at somebody, Fleetwood's right there. I think Kim is probably the most threat to Thomas as I see it, not just because of his position, 2 strokes behind, but because Kim, watching him stay on television, has an outstanding short game. His ability with a wedge, I thought, was really his defining. I thought of all the clubs he used, getting the wedge out of the rough to get himself onto the green to set up for closing out a hole. Man, that guy is exceptional in coming out of his second and third shots.
yeah. I mean, his strokes gained from tee to green was one of the best of the entire day on this Friday, and really great consistency to that short game. That's important. Obviously, there's nobody does it better right now than Scheffler, but there are a few who have really shined and have taken advantage of what this course offers. Like if you put your balls in the best spot and you get those clear looks from your approach shots. That's everything at this course. It is a shot maker's course. You don't have to bomb the ball down the fairway. It's a completely different test of golf than what you'll see in other spots on tour, and that's why some people love this course, some people hate this course, but it's why that a lot of these players will show off different sides of their game, and those who can play that strong approach game and use their irons and
Yeah,
wedges to
man.
the best of their ability, they will succeed here. And
Yeah,
and
this
that
is not a John Daly course. This is a course where you
yes,
got to be able to drive the green and make a putt.
indeed. Yeah, but I'm pumped to see. Let's take a look at the tee times
Mhm.
for tomorrow if I can pull them up.
To your point, Wes, tomorrow is going to be the big day where we're going to have a lot of people in the gallery for pretty much
Yeah,
everybody. I like the sundresses. A big part of being a novice golf fan is appreciating the place that is to see and be seen. I mean, the Heritage not just has great food, it has beautiful people out there. And again, it's the first big spring event where you'll see the athletes out there in summer clothing.
yeah. But yeah, obviously we get to the point where the leaders will tee off last. We got Justin Thomas and Siwoo Kim at 2 o'clock. They'll be the last to tee off. But uh, I'll tell you the group that I'm interested in seeing. There are two of them that stand out. 11:55. You got Xander Schauffele and Matt Kuchar. That is going to that should be a popular pairing.
Is
Uh,
Cooch the most popular player on the tournament this week? Is that
I
fair to
guess
say?
I think Scheffler's right there, but a lot of people love Cooch and the Cooch
Every time
chant.
he drives.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
love that.
that's
Scheffler has the
great.
biggest gallery, though. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I will say, uh, was there a louder moment than the moment when Cooch hit that shot from the sand at 18 in 2014? I cannot think of one. That has to be the loudest Harbour Town may have ever gotten. Like that, it must have gone absolutely crazy
Be
when he
live
hit that
for it.
bunker shot.
I'll tell you, Wes, you're absolutely right. In a sport where people are encouraged to be polite and quiet, that 18 sinking that putt, I mean, it was such a long time coming. And respect is something that is earned. Last night on the show, I think it was last night that Max shared a story about seeing Cooch just picking up something in town, right? And he said, "What's up?" to him. He said, "What's up?" right back. It goes a long way to be able to have a relationship with these players when they're on our island. And
Mhm.
Cooch has so much class. I do believe truly class is more than the amount of money in your bank account. Class is about how you treat the people in your life. And I think that
Yeah.
Matt Kuchar has tremendous class and demonstrates what a man looks like.
Yeah. Oh, well, he has certainly shown that, and he's been a class act. He's been someone that people have, he set an example for a
Yeah.
ton of younger golfers, and certainly has built his credibility around here for just the way he carries himself, and obviously the play on the course. But Kuchar has been a fan favorite. Some other groups that I'm interested in. 12:25, Matt Fitzpatrick and Patrick Cantlay.
Mhm.
So we just mentioned Cantlay earlier, but Fitzpatrick, a former champion, back
Yeah.
in 2023, when he knocked off Spieth when Spieth was trying to win back to back. That was one of the better playoffs I've ever seen around here. And yeah, Fitzpatrick, he's looking like someone who's gonna hang around on Sunday. I would not be surprised to see him in the last couple of groups so he can have a
Mhm.
strong day. And like I said, go out a little earlier, put up a good score, put pressure on some of those other guys, and maybe Fitzpatrick will do that coming up tomorrow. We'll see. Um, Brian Campbell, who has some local ties, he's with Cam Davis for a really nice round. Morikawa with McNeely.
Yeah. Hey, but were,
Scheffler's at 130. Yeah.
were you into a novice question? Is Campbell in any way a relation to the Soup kids that have been playing here in the local high schools?
Ooh, I would not be the one to answer that.
All right, I'll Google that one. But
Yeah.
I was a big fan of Courtney Campbell going to USCB.
Oh, Courtney Campbell. I
I hear the
unlikely.
name Campbell around here. I think about the soup.
Yeah, of course. But Courtney Campbell going to USCB next year. That's I'm excited for that. I'll talk about USCB in a bit because I do have some news from them.
Oh,
Which actually regarding golf, but
all right.
that's a little teaser for later in the show. Scotty Scheffler with Wyndham Clark at 130, Fleetwood with Mackenzie Hughes at 140, and then I said Dustin Thomas, Siwoo Kim at 2 o'clock to round it out. Henley and Novak at 150. So yeah, some interesting names that you see right there at the top. I don't think anyone expected Novak to be there. I mean, Siwoo Kim has been around the tour for a while and has had some solid weeks over there. But I think everyone expected Scheffler to be there, expected possibly Thomas to be there. But
Mhm.
the thing about this tournament is you really never know. There are some guys that will sneak up and be right in contention to the last day. And so thankfully we've had some really solid champions the past few years, but I will say there are others that can win this tournament as well, and I like how you mentioned and then Russell Henley. That's a guy that we haven't mentioned as much, but don't count him out either. Don't
I
count
mean,
him
he's
out
two
either,
strokes off the lead for sure.
no doubt. But just the consistency of golf that he's been playing with, especially today, putting up that 60 Thursday the 64,
Mhm.
but then today another solid 68,
Yeah,
and I feel like he right now is just hanging around there, like
he's a
and some
UGA kid. We like him.
couple UGA kids.
Mhm.
Brian Harmon, another UGA kid.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I heard a lot of good dogs today
yeah,
every
man.
time I follow.
That's our neck of the
Brian.
woods.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, that's Savannah natives around here for sure. Um, but I'm pumped. Saturday, moving day, is one of my favorite days of the tournament, and a lot will be determined as we inch closer to what could be a really fun Sunday around here. Like I said, ideal conditions, 77 degrees and sunny. The opportunities will be there for some low scores, especially early. And if someone can catch on and really climb up early and put up a good number, it'll be interesting to see how the other guys respond to it. So it's going to be a fun day of golf over at Harbour Town. Big crowd as usual on a Saturday. Even more
Mhm.
so this year because how nice it is and how beautiful it is. And uh, they'll be dressed in the tartan best. Saturdays has been tartan day in the past where 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 you're supposed to wear the traditional tartan attire, right, if you will. But I'm not sure if they still do that. Obviously,
Okay.
tartan jacket is
Yep.
given to the champion, um, and we'll see who ends up with it at the end of the weekend. But I'm pumped to see what happens tomorrow. And speaking of golf, we have some more golf news. And it's about USCB.
Yeah.
USCB golf. The Sand Sharks in first place in the Peach Belt Championships after one day.
Ooh.
They are gunning for the Peach Belt title in men's golf. Really impressive what they have done so far through the first day of the tournament. I will pull up the stats for you and the scores for you right now, but I think they have a real chance of winning this thing. They have a 7-shot lead. It really isn't much because you got like 4 guys competing,
Yep.
but for each team. But
Led by a
I
freshman like that.
yeah,
Yeah, Ali Krengart. Say that 3 times fast. Yeah.
This golf program over at USCB has
Yeah.
really been solid throughout their existence, but this year, you're really starting to see what they did late. They finished first in the Old Field on their home event
Mhm.
back in February, second in the Polly's Island, second in the Ralph Haggard over in Monroe, North Carolina. They've been trending upward as the season has gone along, and they are playing some outstanding golf right now.
I mean,
None
Eric shot a
better.
67. Like, that's a professional course. Like,
Yeah,
that's a
Aaron Mendar, as you mentioned, leading the tournament individually, with a 5 under,
he's a
uh,
speed.
yeah, Sweden.
Yeah. Sprechen die
Uh,
Deutsch?
yeah. Nicholas Norman with a 3
Mhm.
under 69, and then Nikolai Holm with a, 1 under 71, so some good scores from this USCB golf team.
Yeah, Normand's from Belgium, brother. Like, parlez-vous français?
Yeah,
Like,
the
play ball, mon
the
ami.
international talent. Yeah, you gotta get the international talent from I mean, golf is an international game, and there's they've gotten some good recruits from several different countries, especially in Europe, and that always helps. And I really think they have a chance to win this thing. This would be huge to bring a Peach Belt title back here to USCB. Um, as you get ready for that full time status next year, this would be a nice way to finish off 2025.
Yes, sir. Wes, you went to Davidson. Obviously, you're a Steph Curry fan, but what I'm really asking is, did you have any international students as friends in
I will
college? Like,
I will tell you what, Davidson is notable for their basketball team for recruiting a bunch of international players. I had a friend from, Iceland.
yeah?
I had a friend, yeah, I mean,
I don't
he
know.
was
I don't know
I
Iceland.
had a friend from, like, I'm trying to remember, so there's from one from Serbia.
Yeah,
There were guys from so many different, countries, around there. It's around Europe. I mean, European
yeah.
basketball has really thrived, especially like France. You look at what they have done in the past in terms of their national competitions. Um, European basketball has really excelled, and they've been able to recruit a lot of talent,
The
from
French were in
that.
the gold medal game for
Yeah,
basketball. I mean, you can see why.
yeah. Uh, but but just in general, we have had a ton of international players, and they continue to do so. This
Yeah.
team, has done a great job of doing that, so over the
But Wes,
past.
hear my question respectfully. I want you to describe what it's like to be friends with someone who grew up in a different culture or country than you did, because
Right.
to become a cosmopolitan, it's really important to have friends from around this world. How blessed are we that folks from around the world choose to come here as a magnet? If only for golf, that's great. But to meet someone who has a completely different experience than what you were raised in, I think can really help not just the person who's new to the area, but especially us who are entrenched. I think it's so important to know and love someone who's coming from a place different than where you grew up.
No doubt, no doubt. That's the cool thing about it. Going to a place like Davidson where you had, friends who were from Europe, friends from Asia. Like we had work on assignments together, and it was challenging at times because you're just from different cultures, and it's hard to communicate,
Mhm.
at different points. But hey, that's the fun of it, and that's
Right.
really cool about being a part of it. It's the like, I enjoyed so much about that entire experience, and it was
Ye-
it was a ton of
I
fun.
had a Belgian, fraternity brother and roommate, my buddy Olivier. Like, it's so important and meaningful to me to have known him and still be his friend today, because I understand much more deeply that we are just a speck in this big, beautiful world, and that humanity is so much of what we build together. And I'm never scared of the quote unquote stranger. There's a book called The Stranger, L'Estrange in French, about a man who murders somebody because the sunlight was in his eyes. I think to be able to understand the deep cultural significance of master works comes from desire to have a deep cultural understanding of my friend, because he was so flattering to me to learn my language so I could better understand myself. Like, what a gift it is to have a friend from around this world. And I think the heritage, as it's often celebrated, I mean, the Masters to me is a tournament of golf for people who were masters of humans, and I don't like that legacy. But the heritage here is that Hilton had people here in plantations that were working and were laborers, and the culture today is to celebrate that work. And the golf community here, in so many ways, really is a reflection of what people can be when they grow together. Because the golf community here is so much deeper than just the antebellum self. The golf community here is indeed oftentimes a reflection and celebration of community beyond locality, about cosmopolitan living. Is that fair? Just even from the restaurants, right? We have 250,000 hotel beds here in this beautiful place you call home, West. 37,000 residents, 250,000 hotel beds. You can go to a restaurant from every continent and meet someone who was raised in a different world, who's giving you their art and their culture on your plate. That's something that should be celebrated.
No doubt. That's really cool. So many different cultures blending in, even just on Hilton Island, for sure. But yeah, that's really awesome. It's just some more notes from USCB.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, some not as happy ones. Tough loss for baseball today.
Yep.
They had a lead into the ninth inning, and Flagler got the walk-off victory, a walk-off home run in the bottom of the ninth inning. It was Maddox down the left field line, and just a tough one for the Sand Sharks there. They one out, runner on second, and then Maddox with the walk-off homer. Sand Sharks falling just short, and then I was calling the softball here on over in Hardyville,
Yeah, baby.
and 6-2 defeat to USC Aiken to start off that series. Just it was 2-1 heading late into this game to the sixth inning, but then they gave up 4 in the sixth.
Mhm.
Couple of home runs for the Pacers, and unfortunately it got away from them.
Tell
But
me
Taylor
about it.
Jeter,
Was the pitching change? What happened in the sixth?
it, you know, Madison Murphy was tremendous, but just a couple of long balls
Tired.
to a really strong team, an offense that found its rhythm
Mhm.
as it went along. So USC Aiken was able to scrap across a couple of runs, but for USCB, just the offense just wasn't able to
Yeah.
do enough at when they had the chance earlier in the game. They got one run, but they could have gotten a lot more. And sometimes that's the hard part is
Yeah.
the timely hitting just didn't come for you. But Madison Murphy, she's still really finding her groove, but she's had a great season. I expect Sierra Kinlaw to start one tomorrow,
Mhm.
and Madison Murphy might get another opportunity as well.
Yeah, she
And
had a quality start.
still a chance, yeah, still a chance to win this series. Still, you
Yeah.
gotta take both of them tomorrow, which is doable. Definitely is doable for this team. And Phillips was tremendous on the other side for USC Aiken, senior veteran pitcher who just really showed why she's been so incredible for that team over the last few years. But a chance to bounce back tomorrow, which is the beauty of it. You still have 2 more opportunities, and if you take those 2 games, you're in a really good position as you get ready for the last series against North Georgia.
For sure. Have we thrown our ace yet?
Well, we have. I mean, obviously, we have a couple of them. I mean, Madison Murphy certainly grew into that, but I expect
Talking
to see
Kinlaw.
Kinlaw out there tomorrow. Kinlaw should definitely get one of the 2 games.
Cool.
Uh, and we could see a situation where Kinlaw starts the first, Madison starts second, then Kinlaw closes the second, especially if Kinlaw has a good game 1. So,
Are you calling it tomorrow?
no, I'll be at the Heritage.
Oh, right on, man. Well, to whoever's watching, if there's a kid out there watching that wants to see a great pitcher, I think Sierra Kinlaw looks like the best pitcher in,
Oh,
maybe
she's awesome.
our history.
She's awesome. When she's on, she's so fun to watch. So,
That's
yeah,
what I'm saying. Nothing beats great pitching, and she's got it.
no doubt about that. So yeah, they get two more tomorrow. Baseball finishing up their series at Flagler as we get more into this weekend. But almost up to an hour, so I'm gonna
Yep.
we're gonna do our final sponsor reads and some parting thoughts, and we'll wrap this thing up for tonight. Base Hit Life, baseball and softball themed apparel. Live your base hit life at basehitlife.com. Dr. Ambrose Cole, your official chiropractor, find out real living wellness in Bluffton. It'll get you feeling right, mind, body, and spirit. Reverence Wrestling Club, official wrestling sponsor, presenting sponsor of the Loco Grind. Barefoot Floor Care, Low Country. Get your floors so clean, your feet will thank you. And Jay's Barbershop, the place to be in Ridgeland, whether you need a haircut or not. So, Kevin Libby, I want you to give me your final parting thought of the night. It could be anything, or could be sports related, could be not sports related.
I
Anything.
want to tell a quick story, Wes. It's a story that you've heard once before, and you were present for it. It's one of my favorite stories about me learning something. So, when we were I was covering a football game as simply the shooter of the main camera for WHHI, and it was a Hilton Head Christian Academy game, to my recollection. It could have been prep. I'm pretty sure it was Christian Academy. And we had a kid that, on a kickoff return, planted the helmet to the ground and I believe experienced his first concussion.
Mm.
And in that experience, the kid appropriately said, like, I just blacked out. I don't know, or whatever reason it was. But the athletic director with the medical assistant that was available that day did the right thing. They called the ambulance. The ambulance comes out. They did the full proper procedure for spinal, which frankly I thought was great because the kids in the crowd are going to watch the right way to medically deal with someone who might have a spinal injury. They put them on the stretcher, yada, yada. I was a young camera shooter, and I remember going across the headset and saying, guys, I'm looking at the live stream here, and we have like hundreds of viewers on the live stream where we were anticipating usually a couple dozen. And it was because we had a live view of a kid going and to be very clear, this kid was fine, came back, played football the next year, graduated, very proud of him. But everyone was nervous. Do I know that kid on the stretcher, right? So I'm there like an idiot in the press box being like, hey, fellas, in case you're wondering, Mr. Director, we have like hundreds of people watching this game. Maybe it's because of the injury, as the people in the press box know this child directly because they're the teachers in the school, and they're extremely nervous. So I'm watching the live stream. I got the volume cranked. We come back to live after the kid goes off in the ambulance, and Marcus Walsh, the intrepid call guy for WHHI TV, is blaring, we're back with action. It's Marcus Walsh, blah, blah, blah. And the guy doing PA turns to you, Wes, who respectfully, you still look like a young person. You're aging beautifully. You look much younger than your years. And he says, turn that thing off, thinking you're a student. Of course, you're really there as a media member, and you're working. And he says it a second time, turn that thing off. And then I realize it's my phone that's blaring. And I turn it off, and I say nothing. 2 years later, I appear on this program, and I apologize to you for not standing up like a grown man, which is what I was then and I am now. And you didn't recall it, which I think speaks to your character, where you don't let small stuff bother you and you move on with very, very well. I think that a lot of adults struggle to cope with problems as well as, I'll say this in a different way, children will overcome something based on their experience. If you have hardship in childhood, you can overcome stuff as an adult. If you have an easy childhood, you might struggle with that as an adult. So I think what you taught me, Wes, is the value of a good apology. A good apology is not just saying, I'm sorry. It's saying, I'm sorry, and here's what I will correct in the future to make sure it doesn't happen again. So I again apologize to you, Wes, because you have this integrity, which I want to have when I grow up. And I will, to the best of my ability, understand what it is to be on a live stream and to respect my partner. Because, Wes, I am so delighted to call you partner tonight. I'm really flattered that you had me on as your Cato. That's my self-described term. Whenever you need a person to come out of the wings and be your partner in whatever we're doing here, please know I'm there for you. And again, to reiterate, thank you for giving me a teaching moment where I will learn something. And thank you for always believing in me individually, because you flatter me tremendously with every opportunity. And it means a lot to me to have your relationship. So, Wesley Kerr, I want to be like you when I grow up. Thanks for being the model that I aspire to become.
Well, I will. I don't know if there's a parting thought today, except that I will just talk one about it's just about the thing about the heritage that I mentioned earlier. Just going back to seeing people, just seeing people that I haven't seen for a while, and just the community that it builds is really cool. And I just because like I saw like just different local sports people, members of our group, and then just members like coaches and players that we cover. It's really cool to see everyone involved, and I just wanted to say a special thank you and shout out to all the volunteers who make this event possible. There are so many volunteers that go into this tournament, and it just from everybody that does their part this tournament is able to have been run so smoothly. So the grounds crew, the volunteers, many of them that are working in the event, just wanted to give a thank you to everyone
Yeah.
who helps make this tournament the amazing couple of days it is. So just a thank you to all the volunteers and the workers at this event.
Well said, partner. You respect the work, and I do too. Thank you for saying it.
Awesome. Well, that will wrap it up for today's show. It should be a great Saturday over at the Heritage, and we will be back to recap it all. Hopefully, with the rest of the gang as well, Justin, Jarrett, Max, Raj, and everyone else. But thank you for coming on, Kevin, and appreciate all your insights and thoughts from today.
Well done, partner.
Yep. All right, we will talk to you again tomorrow night, and we will be back for a lot more coverage from on Saturday and Sunday. We thank you for coming on, and we will talk to you again tomorrow night. And so, from Kevin Libben, this is Wes Kerr saying, "Stay loco. Good night. See you tomorrow."
The Loco Sports Lowdown podcast is a production of Loco Media LLC and LowcoSports.com, an independent media outlet providing grassroots local sports coverage in the South Carolina Lowcountry. We are sustained by community support from sponsors and patrons like you. Get in the game with a monthly pledge of $1 or more at patreon.com/LowcoSports to keep us going and growing. Go Loco!